Hi, this is Echo with Echoes of Nature, and we will be doing today a tortoise craft and meeting our red-footed tortoise from South America in just a few minutes. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask about tortoises or turtles, please let us know, and we'll try and see those on the Facebook chat as quick as we can. And if we miss any during the live part, I will go back through and answer any of the ones that were shared then and post them at that time. So I am just kind of cleaning up my space a little bit so we can get started with you in just a moment. And for those of you that are joining us that have not met us before, we are a local nonprofit organization based out of Bowie, and we work with Chesapeake Arts Center to do summer camps, family events, after-school programs. Hopefully we'll get to see you in August at the Arts in the Park, and we'll have some of our ambassadors out so you can meet them up close and personal and be able to touch them and ask us more questions. This summer we are going to do animal and art camp, and the focus this summer is going to be animals around the world. So the first part, or one part of the camp, will be with us with the animal portion of animals from different countries, and we'll focus on them and some of the culture and activities and games and a little bit of art. And then you will also be doing art with Mary Ann, who is one of the artists at Chesapeake Arts Center, doing art during that time of that country that we're focusing on that day. And it's going to be pretty exciting, and I'm pretty excited to see the art that you guys are going to make and meeting the animals. So, I don't know, do we have any? No questions yet.
Nope.
All right. And I'm also going to start this morning off with a South American animal tale that relates to our tortoise, who is very excited to come out and meet you. So you may hear some thumping to my side. That is her trying to show herself before she's ready. But we're excited to share with you, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the story I'm going to share today is Djibouti the Turtle. And in South American tales, Djibouti is kind of like the North American tales with the coyote, often the trickster or one of the main characters. So Jabuti the Turtle, long ago, had a shell that didn't have any cracks or any imperfections in his shell. It was very smooth, and he played the flute. And he played the flute so well that all the birds in the jungle liked to sing with him, and they also liked to just listen and enjoy him, and he loved playing the flute. Well, one day, he got an invitation from the king of birds to play for his birthday party. Now, you know how excited you get when you get an invitation to go somewhere, and Djibouti was all excited, and he felt really awesome that he gets to play for the king of birds. And then he got really sad, because the king of birds lives in a castle up in the clouds, and turtles don't fly. So he was very, very sad at that point. Vulture, who was listening, Vulture was very jealous of Djibouti. He was jealous of all the birds too, because Vulture didn't have any bright colors. He was all brown. The other birds were like all green or all red. They had all one colors. And Vulture couldn't sing. So he was really jealous of Djibouti. But he came up to Djibouti and said, "Hey, I'll take you to the party." And Djibouti's like, "You will? How?" "Well, I'll carry you and fly you up there." Oh. Djibouti was excited, but he was also kind of nervous because he'd never flown. Do you remember your first plane ride? About how exciting it was to look out the window, but it was also kind of nervous? And I didn't fly until I was in college, so that was kind of scary and exciting all at once. So Djibouti is getting ready for his first flight. And what do turtles do when they're kind of scared or nervous? they hide in their shell. So he tucked himself in his shell. The vulture picks him up around the edges and he flies up. And Djibouti kind of sticks his head out a little bit. And he's watching. He's used to looking from the ground up to all of the trees in this jungle. And now he's going up and up and he's seeing different things. He's never seen his world in this new view. And as he gets higher above the trees, he's now looking at the top of the canopies down to the ground. And he kind of comes out all the way and he's feeling pretty comfortable at this point. Vulture's giving him a smooth ride and he's getting all comfortable. But Vulture wasn't being a very nice bird overall. Once they got high in the sky, guess what Vulture did? Vulture let him go, and he kept on flying. And Djibouti's tucked himself inside of his shell, and he's calling out, "Trees, trees, move out of my way!" And the trees moved out of his way. "Vines, vines, move out of my way!" And the vines move out of his way. "Grass, grass, move out of my way!" And the grass moves out of his way. He didn't have time, however, to call out to the rocks. And he hit a very sharp, pointy rock right on the back of his shell because he'd flipped upside down. And his shell broke into many pieces and scattered across the jungle. Meanwhile, Vulture's gone up to the party and he's thinking, "Haha, no one knows what I did." But the king of birds was a very wise and knowing bird. And he goes up to Vulture and he goes, "Hey, weren't you bringing Djibouti up to play for me today?" Oh, Vulture got caught. And all he could do was hide behind his wing. It's kind of like when we sneak a cookie before dinner and Mom catches us. And she knows we've gotten the cookie because we still have crumbs on our face or our shirt. So once all the birds heard that Djibouti was in danger, they all left the party and flew to go look for Djibouti. And they found him. And they found that his shell had been broken and scattered into pieces, so they went to look for the pieces. The hummingbird, who was a bright emerald green color, found a piece and brought it over and put it back on his shell, and it got a ruby throat. So it got a new color. The toucan actually found a few pieces, and once he put those pieces on, got red and yellow stripes on its beak. And as all the other birds came and put him back together, the shells on, they each got a color as a reward for helping. So today, birds have brightly colored feathers. And still to this day, Vulture's colors are still the drabby brown. And he still can't sing. And today, when you look at a turtle shell, you'll see those cracks and ridges that make up that pattern. So this story is a pourquoi story, meaning a for why. And it was a story that explained why certain animals look the way they do. But it was also a tale for children to learn how to behave. Not to be mean, not to be jealous, to be happy with what you have, and to work with others. So I hope you enjoyed that tale. And now I'm going to bring out our red-footed tortoise, and here she is. All right, she is a fairly good-sized tortoise. There are tortoises that are bigger than her, and if you take a look at her, you can see why she gets the name red-footed. They have the red scales on the legs. They have the yellow scales on the head. Sorry, I touched your nose. On the back of her shell, you can see in the center of the main scales, or scutes, she has that yellow, almost rectangle picture. And I'm going to put her upright because she doesn't like to fly. When you take a look at her feet, especially her back feet, she has elephant-like legs, and that's a characteristic for tortoises. And as she's walking across the table right now, she's not dragging on the bottom, she's holding herself up. She weighs about 20 pounds, and she knows I brought a treat. Let's put you a little further back so they can see you. No, he doesn't have the treat. That's the camera. Would you like the treat? No, you want the camera. She's very, very curious. Turtles have a lot of personality, turtles and tortoises. And Lily likes to go exploring. On a lot of days, she's out exploring in our animal care room. And she is like a little tank. If it's in her way and she thinks she can get through it, she tries to go through it. And she can move a lot of things out of her way. All of a sudden, you'll hear a chair moving, and you're the only one in the room. And it's her moving that chair along with her. Or our drying rack for the towels. And she also, people think tortoises and turtles are really slow. They can be pretty quick. You can know where she is one moment. There we go, you found the tomato. And then the next moment, she is totally across the room and hidden behind something that you didn't even think she could get to. So she can see in color. And this is a tomato, which she absolutely loves. I know. She knows it's salad day. Oh, was that enough? Would you like a piece of apple? And you noticed when she was eating... No, you can't eat the camera. That won't be very yummy. When she was eating, she's got a hard beak-like mouth. Let's see if she'll take some apple. And she went through that piece of apple with no problem. Okay, fine. So they don't have teeth to chew with, but they do have that hard beak-like mouth to go through their food. She is an omnivore. So not only does she eat the tomatoes, the apples, the green leafy lettuce, kale, or collard greens, she eats squash, zucchini, watermelon, cantaloupe, pretty much most of the veggies and fruits that you may like. Because she is a tropical tortoise, we can also give her some banana, as they would eat that in the wild too. Now, tortoises don't climb trees to go get bananas. But they have learned to follow the troops of monkeys that go through. And the monkeys will pick a fruit, test it. If it's not ripe or too ripe, they toss it down. And so the tortoises will follow along those same paths in order to get that yummy fruit. So they are a benefit to the rainforest and the other forests because they help to spread seeds. And you cannot eat the crayon box top. I know that's red, but you can't have that. There we go. Does anybody have any questions or comments they want to share today? All right. So, let's see if she'll go back to the tomato. And you can see how well she's walking and looking around. You still can't have the crayon box. Yes, you can have the apple. There you go. She is a very noisy eater. But that's how we know she really enjoys her meals. We've had Lily since 2006. We don't know her exact age. She has grown with us since we've gotten her. When we got her, she was probably about this big. And so she's grown a fair amount since we've had her in the 14 years. They can live to be 40, 50 years old. But like a lady, she's not sharing her age. Most of our animal ambassadors we adopt from shelters and rescues. And she came to the rescue. Whoever had her before really, really loved her. But that individual was having to move somewhere that she was not going to be able to take the tortoise with her. And she was very, very sad that she had to give her up. But we were able to adopt her, and she's been a great ambassador for our programs. Do you wish to eat the tomato before I take you off camera? No, you are exploring now. All right, I'm gonna put her back. There we go. So if you could pet her shell, she feels really hard. And you can see that there are the pattern of the scutes. Most turtles and tortoises have a pattern of 13 main scutes, and then these marginal side scutes are a different part of the shell. But most turtles have that pattern of 13. And the story I shared was one way to explain why they kind of look like this. Usually they are also more flat. She came to us with a little bit of this pyramiding, and fortunately in our care it has never gotten to be more pyramided, but it hasn't flattened out any either. So I'm going to put her back. Okay, feet down, I know. All right. So, today we are going to do a tortoise craft, and I have a few sample ideas. And grab a crayon. Alright, so for this craft, using a paper bowl or even a paper plate. And I do have the tortoise shapes. I think I forgot to send those to Ashley. I will do that as soon as we get done. I do have the turtle pictures, but what I did was turn my bowl over. One of the things I have is a basic turtle shape that then I stapled to the bowl. And then I designed it, started off designing her legs. Another way is to cut out your own shapes and attach them to the bottom. So I have 4 legs, the head and the tail that I've stapled on. And then on the back of the shell, draw in those scutes. So this bowl is kind of like Djibouti before his great fall. And what I'm doing now is what the turtles would look like after. So you can create these tortoises, your turtle bowls, and do the story that we just did and share it with your tortoise props. And you can add your bird friends to it too. So I've drawn a rough scoot shape over that. And here's my tortoise plate. Now, he doesn't have that high dome shell like the other, but there is a tortoise in the world called a pancake tortoise. And he looks flat like a plate. So, but for my tortoise, I've given the yellow dots on the scutes, the red on the legs, which give our red-footed tortoise her name, as well as the yellow on the top of her head, the yellow scales, and some of the red streakings on her. There are also tortoise coloring pages, and I just kind of started this one a little bit to show. This one's got the scutes already drawn out on the legs, the hard scales that are on the front of her legs, and I just colored a few of them red and added the yellow across the top. Another shape is a side view of the profile. And on this one, besides coloring it, I also used pieces of construction paper. So I used the scraps from last week's craft that we did for the mola, and I just tore them into little pieces to represent the scales, almost kind of like a mosaic effect. So lots of different choices with that. Creating your tortoise. I will make sure that the outline shapes are available, and we would love to see your tortoises and see how you make them, or if you do your own story or recreate the story that I shared. And I hope you have a lot of fun with making your red-footed tortoise. And check us out, both of us out, Chesapeake Art Center and Echoes of Nature, for other ideas and crafts that we are posting during this time. And we hope to see you in the near future in person and sharing some of our ambassadors with you or our art classes. And I thank y'all very much. And before I sign off, I'm going to make sure if we have any questions or anything today. It doesn't seem so. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day and an awesome weekend. And again, we look forward to seeing some of your tortoise crafts. And thank y'all so much for joining us today. Bye.